Look, if you book, right? Look, if you book, right? Mm, 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 mm. Hey, everybody. This is 30 interviews in 30 days. Yes. And we are getting started, having a good time, enjoying it. I just had the breakfast of champions called potato chips. Um, I don't know what champion would be doing that, but it's the breakfast of champions. That's why you shouldn't buy it. I haven't had junk in the house, and I bought it yesterday. Went to the store. You know how you do that? Does anybody do that? Go to the store for one thing, end up with something else, and then you get junk food. That's why I try to stay out the stores. Try to stay out the stores because I always come back with something I should not have, some type of junk. But today is day 15 of 30 interviews in 30 days. I was checking out my angles too. You like that angle better? No, I think I like this angle better. Thank you to everybody who is rocking with me, who stayed the course, who've been checking in every day. Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited about your presence. I'm excited about what you're doing. Today is going to be a special day. And sometimes in the process, you have to shift, right? So we were waiting for Nook, the stylist from Conyers, Georgia, but we had to shift, right? But in the shift, it's somehow divine order. Like we always talk about divine order. And I'm excited about the shift. I'm excited about of the conversation that's going to be had. I'm excited to speak to her. She's one of the most, her name is Kendra Hall. She is one of the most supportive human beings. Like she's always supporting what we do. She even made me a video, what's it called? Video vision board. So Kendra is going to come up in a moment. She's getting herself together. Like I said, she had in a moment, matter of moments, she shifted where Nook was unavailable because we pray that everything is okay, but she was not available. She was all ready. She reposted and everything. So Nook was ready, but then something's not, can't get in touch with her right now. But the point is, Kendra was able to step in and shift. So just like God can shift the atmosphere, this could be shifted because it's all divine order. Divine, it really is. It's all about God. I asked God to send me the people He wanted me to talk to, interview. Send me those people. So that means Kendra was supposed to be here. So yes, I just wanted to start. This is the grownfolksradio.com. So no matter where you are in this world, you can listen on the grownfolksradio.com. And also on YouTube, Single on a Saturday Night, and right here on Facebook, y'all. What's going on? There she is. There's Kendra. Hi.
How are you?
I am good, awesome, and amazing. I was thanking you for your shift. You were able to.
Oh,
shift.
yes.
Like,
yes, we have to shift.
Not everybody's able to do it. And show up so lovely like you do. That means you.
Well, thank you.
That means you be ready. You be ready. Look, you're like, you ready. They said, what's that? It used to be a group called Ready for the World. You ready for the world.
Oh, yes. We have to be ready. I'm up at 4 a.m. So if I'm not dressed by 1:12, it's a problem.
Really? You up at what? I mean, but you know what? You could be up at 4 a.m. Now, I actually went to bed at 5 a.m. last night. But,
oh, wow.
But if you're up at 4 a.m. doesn't mean you have to be cute. Sometimes I'm up in pajamas and I ain't gonna tell you what I look like underneath of this wig right here. But thank you for being able to shift like that, just being able. And the thing is, I said this, I asked God to, direct me to who was supposed to be a part of 30 interviews in 30 days. And you've been on my mind, honestly.
Oh,
you've been on my mind. And then it's like, all right, well, the shift happened. And I just so happened, literally, I didn't have to move or anything. Your book is right next to me.
Oh my goodness. What a blessing. Look at God.
Is right next to me. I didn't move. We were waiting and I didn't have to move because your book was right here, right next to me. See my little thing?
Aww.
So anyway, Kendra Hall, dropping jewels, guiding principles to help girls live their best life. All right, so let's talk about Kendra. Kendra, when did you decide that you wanted to show up in this world and be fabulous?
You know what? I think we all showed up. Whether or not the fabulousness has come is it's up to the person, I guess. Our own thought. I kind of feel like when I decided to make a pivotal change, I had been through a lot of life's tests, and that's after the tests, and I was able to mold myself through the fire, or God was able to mold me, really. That's when I was able to feel fabulous and fully accept the fabulosity of me and what self-love really means. So I think it took some trials and tribulations to get to this place.
So your childhood, we spoke about this a little while ago about your childhood. Your childhood is the reason why you can speak to children in such a way. Tell us about some of the trials that happened throughout your childhood that shaped you and made you the person you are today.
I would say just, starting a little bit from the beginning, a little background about me. I came from a 2-parent household. Both of my parents had their master's degree, and they were serious about education. So even as at a very young age, I was doing homework after homework and learning before it was, so much popular and a school thing. My mother's a retired educator now, but she was in the full throes of, education. This is what she loves to do, is to educate and to teach about, our history and all of those different elements. So, having 2 parents who are very educational oriented put me in a different mindset at a young age. And my parents didn't play around. If I had a B, then they would ask me, why did you get a B? You're supposed to get an A. It
Woo!
was, yeah. So don't think you were coming, that C was an F. So.
Well, I'm sorry then. I was F's.
Well, everybody has their, their journey, and so when you have parents that were really giving you that type of pressure, and then on top of that, I had all these extracurricular activities at the time that I had to do. I was in acting, dancing. I was in church often. I was in church Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, twice on Sunday. Okay.
Holy.
And so when you have that background, you're expected to behave a certain way. I went to all the youth conference. I was the youth group leader at my church. And all of those different, I was one of the lead singers in the youth group and the youth choir. So I would go around and sing at different conventions and all of that.
You said sing. So can you sing?
I can, but I don't, unless it's for the Lord. So I don't usually, it has to be, I can, but it has to be sporadic, and it has to be heartfelt. It has to be spontaneous. I realize that I have to be led by the Spirit to really get into it. And so, having that type of background, it was a lot of pressure on me, because I had to fit in all these different places. And I really felt like I had no control, because I wasn't really allowed to watch television. I had to read, as I got older, I had to read books as my, that was to my parents, that should be my entertainment, and I had to read the dictionary. My father would test me on it. Yes. So he would say, well, you need something to do. You better pick this dictionary up. And
oh my God.
So because I was not allowed to speak in improper sentences. If I did, I would have to start over. Yes, they were serious. There was no slang in the house. And they expected excellence of me, myself, and my siblings. And at the time that worked well. I mean, later on, my brother went to Princeton. My sister went to Princeton. My sister went to Wharton. Another brother's full scholarship educational Rutgers University. And so, it worked for them. As far as for me, I mean, I wound up getting my college degree later on as an adult, too. But it was a lot of pressure for me. And it was to me, I felt like I was in a box. So I became that black sheep that went against the grain. And I would do little things, you know, passive aggressive at the time, and just to try to get my freedom. And I wound up meeting a little boy. And, you know, he was sneaking up to the church, had my first kiss behind the church van.
Oh, shucks. Well, you know what? I think that's a lot of people's stories. Something at church that happened to a few people.
Yes. Sometimes it's, you know, and that's his own culture, you know, it really is. And so, you know, having those experiences, you know, I wound up with the boy. I wound up skipping school one day, having sex for the first time, and getting pregnant. Yes. At 13 years old.
At 13 years old, that first time. So you
first time. I didn't know anything. I was like, okay. You know, I really didn't. And I didn't understand, you know, I didn't understand what was going on. To me, I just felt like I was out of my parents' rule, and I was in love with this little boy in my mind, and he could do no wrong. He was telling me all the right things. And he was in love too. So he thought, you know, he's a little kid, whatever that meant as a child.
Was he older than you?
He was a year older than me. Okay. So we were around at the time we were, you know, so he was a year older than me. And so, you know, this is like our first loves. So it's kind of like now we're just obsessed with one another at this young age, which is not really a good thing, to be honest with you. So I do speak about in my book about teenage relationships and how that could be really to your detriment when you're not ready to have them, you know, because you think you're older enough to handle them and you're not. And 9 times out of 10.
That's the truth. My mom had the rule, you can't have a boyfriend until you're 16. But just like you, I had, you know, I snuck around. Now I didn't go around too much because she was very strict, and she has come around the corner and knocked my head off in front of everybody. So I didn't play with her, but I do understand that she said 16, and I should have listened.
Right. That's what my father said. My father said maybe 16, you know, maybe. So I understand. And so it's for a reason. Your mother was very, very on top of it and smart for that reason alone. And so, you know, for me, I think that because I grew up in a more sheltered environment, up until that point, my parents didn't feel the need to tell me about sex. The only thing I was really told about sex was don't do it. You know what I mean? You know, and they didn't even think that would be something I would even do, because I'm a little girl, and their mom is skinny little 13-year-old, and they're not thinking about me going out there and doing this type of
they would never think that was in your mind, like, you know.
Right.
I mean, at 13, I literally was not thinking about sex. So I think the boy probably was pushing that. Oh, yeah. Mind. It was him. Yeah. It was him. He put that all on you. It was him.
Yeah, he did. Because I was like, you know, I didn't understand it. But at the same time, I made that choice. And when you make the choice to put your life in somebody else's hands, it's a consequence to that. And so, you know, that's where the trials and errors come in, you know, the ebbs and flows of life, because you don't know what those consequences are going to be. But you have to know that there will be consequences for your actions, whatever that is. And you have to own it because you did it. You know, you made this decision. And so that's what really this journey has been about for me, is owning the consequences for any of the actions that I've done. And so it's taking full accountability of things. I don't blame anybody for anything, because at the end of the day, the ownership of my decisions are on me. And so I think that, you know, going in through that situation, I got pregnant. I hid it for months. And you know, I had to eventually tell, and I had to tell my parents because another adult was going to tell them if I didn't tell them. And so I told.
What other adult knew? You said another adult.
Yes, the guidance counselor at the school knew. So the kids were talking in the school. I had and this is a crazy story, but I was a lead in my dance troupe. So at school as well as so. I'm at school leading the dance troupe, and I'm pregnant, and I have a solo, Okay. And I have a leotard on. I'm probably like 5 months pregnant. And I'm a skinny girl. I got this belly, but nobody's paying attention because they're just really, the adults really not paying attention because it's not over and over the top. I had tried to hide it, I guess. But then one of the, my son's father at the time was so excited about this baby. He was telling anybody and everybody around the school that I was pregnant. I'm having this baby. We're getting married, blah, blah, blah. All this stuff. So, and then come to find out he planned to get me pregnant. I found out later on. And this happens too. People do this.
Why would anybody plan? I mean, he's a child, but why would you plan somebody else's life? I mean, why? I don't.
It's kind of like it's an ownership thing, and I learned later on that was my abusive relationship that I was in. So people plan these things, and they've maybe seen some things that I haven't seen. I mean, he was less sheltered than I was, so maybe he had his own reasoning behind it. But I mean, he'll tell you, he's just that type of. He did, and but he was a kid, so he didn't understand the ramifications of what he was doing either. But at this dance recital, one of the students stood up in the middle of the recital and pointed, and she said, she was like, "She's pregnant. I think she's pregnant," like that. and so like the guidance counselor, I guess she had been hearing rumors, and then she really took notice. She pulled me aside, and she come to, I mean, this guidance counselor, here's the kicker, was a family friend, okay, who lived behind me. Okay. So she already felt a feeling because she knew my parents. She's friends with my parents. So at the end of the day, you're either going to tell my parents, who we're over here, relax, they know and talk to and have conversations with. That's a feeling to know that I'm pregnant and she hasn't told my parents. So she said, if you don't tell them today, I'm going to tell them, because I'm not holding on to this. And so I wound up having to tell my parents. It didn't go well at all. And long story short, my father said, he cussed me out and he said, "You got to get out. You're not having a baby here." After they found out I was too far along to get an abortion, even though I didn't want one. They took me to the doctor for that. And then they gave me the choice of giving the baby up for adoption. And I said, no, I didn't want to do that. And then at that point, it was just, my father was just through with the situation, because that wasn't the structure that he wanted for his family. And he also said that, he said, you're going to be living poor from now on. You know what I mean? And so my parents came from poverty, in essence, to a degree, to build themselves up to this point of having their masters and having these things. They fought, they had to, they did the extra time and spent the extra hours to make sure that they would, me and my siblings and I were planned out, so they did the work in their mind the right way. They got married first. They planned for the children to make sure that they had a home and all of this. And so for me to come in, my father said I would be disruptive for the other children in addition to that. So, he was looking at the whole scope of things, and he just was like, you and your B word, your child, he has to go because, you're unmarried. And we're not going to, we're not facilitating this. And then he kept saying that I'm going to have a whole bunch of kids and all this. I'm not going to be anything. And he's separating himself, and I am disowned. Okay. That's what he said. He hates me, all this. And so for me, I'm like, I don't know.
Of course, you're 13 years old. You try, and you're like, wow, this is grown up. You talking about growing up in 5 seconds flat.
Right.
5 seconds flat, grown up. You say
went from the baby to
from a baby to like, I am now an adult. I have to get out the house, and the emotions that you had to go through. Golly. Right.
Yeah, it was, and that was, it is not that I'm laughing about it, but it's kind of like, it's, you have to kind of smile to break through the tension of that feeling, because it is a feeling to know that now you're an adult. I had wished all that time of living at my parents' house, and a lot of instances when I was told to read the encyclopedias, the dictionaries, that I was ready to be grown anyway. I wanted to leave the house. You know, I could live on my own, and I was reading these books thinking I could, you know, do all this and do all that, you know, and if I could just be given the chance. And so lo and behold, wake up, you know, and but then you realize when you're in it that you're not ready for it, you know, because you have to, but now you better get ready for it, because this is these decisions that you have made, these are the ramifications of it. So after that, you know, I wound up living with, you know, going from an upper middle class environment, on a Craftmatic bed that I was vibrating, all, you know, going up and down, and you know, thought I was.
I want y'all to watch. She said on a Craftmatic. That's one of them Craftmatic adjustable beds.
Them old.
She said, "Look, I wasn't just on a regular bed. I had a Craftmatic adjustable bed." Then you got to go from there to what? Then what was your next move?
To the floor. To the floor.
To the floor.
On the pallet up to the floor.
Oh no, not
to the floor with mice all around trying to bite me at night. Okay.
Oh no.
Yes, mice. And you know, I hadn't seen a mouse except for at school. Okay. I had a gerbil at the house, at my parents' house. I don't, you know, so this is a different environment now. I'm going from this to on the floor, and it's hot. It's in the summertime. So it's like you talking about you hot, you pregnant, you by yourself, you in a situation, nobody cares you. I wasn't being fed properly at the time. I had to, you know, like find food. I had to steal money to get food. Like it was a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a lot.
So whose floor did you have to go on? Was it the parents of the boy? Was it?
I had to go. Well, I wound up. So that's interesting. So I wound up going to, not to tell all of my book either.
Yeah, we don't want to tell all of the book. Dropping Jewels.
Yeah.
You'll see it. Dropping Jewels right now. Guiding principles to help girls live their best life. We don't want to tell everything. So
yes. And yeah, thank you so much, Shelly. You know, and I would say that it was, you know, I do address that in my book, and it was perilous times at that time. However, you know, it became worse. I had, you know, going forward, not to tell each inch of the story, to kind of go forward to kind of show the ebbs and flows. So that was a pivotal moment of being out on my own and having to deal with the pressure of my parents. So that was one of those things that kind of ingrained in me the value of education. So that to me was a really huge component of my life as a young person, and also the church aspect of having God in my life. So that structure was a part of the foundation of who I was, you know, who I am now. And thank goodness for those types of structures, and also to understand that people of color can have something in life. Okay. Mm-hmm. And that is all I had seen at the time. I'd only seen Black business owners. I had only seen Black, African Americans, Black folks who had themselves together. You know, at the time, I had only seen that. I lived in a mixed community. I played with the neighbors who were different. You know, I had different cultures and different backgrounds, but everybody was still had two-parent household. Had two parents, a mom and a dad. I mean, none of my friends didn't have. It was just a mom or a dad for the most part. It was a family. And so I was used to seeing the family structure. So that was good for me, because I think that that's important of a foundation to know that is the right way, in essence, in my opinion, to go. You know, when you're having children, is to have a family structure. So what were you saying?
No, I was going to say, so with that, knowing that the family structure, knowing that you had this, so do you believe that, okay, your brother, or I don't know whether it was a brother, sister, but either way, mm-hmm. Princeton, Rutgers, mm-hmm. This, do you believe that you have the capability to make the type of money they make, even though they've gone to Princeton, Rutgers, and what's the other one?
Well, you know what? I would say too that Ivy League doesn't guarantee that you. Yeah, and I would think Ivy League don't guarantee money. You know, it just shows that you honestly can do it. So I don't feel like that's a guarantee of money, because nobody's, you know, ain't nobody rich. You know what I mean? Like everybody still got to do what they have to do and go work every day. So like, you know, my brother's a musician, like, you know, everybody has their craft in essence, because, you know, and so that was another thing. My parents made us all play an instrument. We had to play an instrument. It was required, and we had to play an hour a day. So my brother took to that and he stayed with it. And now he's, you know, he's traveled around the world as a musician from that, which is a blessing. You know, this is the structural things that happen. In essence, you know, the flows of life, the things that kind of make you who you are. And then when I had to go deal with being, you know, getting pregnant and having, you know, being humiliated and having to be humbled in that way, that was another pivotal moment that brought me to who I was too, because I had to realize, you know, I'm not as grown as I thought I was, and I don't have, you know, I didn't do the right things to make this situation work in my favor in the beginning. You know, I had to really do some introspection in these moments of quiet and having to deal with the situation that were going on around me, and feeling powerless and knowing that I don't want to feel like this forever, and I'm not going to feel like this forever. So that also brought out a different part of me that I didn't know, that fight, you know, and so, you know, I wound up having to really fight, you know, to fight more and just understand that that's what life is. At times it's a fight. It's spiritual warfare, and you got to keep pushing on regardless of what's going on. You have to be able to stay focused and keep this fight going to keep progressing in life and to get to whatever you feel is, and it's a never ending journey, you know, whatever this level is, because we're always looking for the level of satisfaction within ourselves. So, you know, I wound up going back a little bit to my personal story. I wound up going, dealing with my son's father, and we had an apartment together at 16. And so,
he left his home too. So he left his home back.
Right. He left his home. His sister and because we had to, another thing is too, being out on your own, you have to have people sign for you. It's not like you can just get a place. You're not of age. So, so his sister and they had upstairs, and we had the downstairs area, like the downstairs apartment. And so, you know, we just started to get into fights because now, you know, we had been fighting to be together. And so, you know, it got worse and worse, and he was already doing things before then that were abusive. And the last straw was he threw me through a window, a double glass window. Yes. And I had already been in situations where I had looked like Tina Turner with him anyway, in you know, at a young age. I mean, and so when you're dealing, I think, with those types of situations, you have to make a change too. And I wound up leaving that situation and going into a domestic violence shelter.
Well, let me ask you a question. So dating him at 13, 14 years old, did you see,
and we started dating when I was 12, and he was
12, 13, 14. Did you see signs of abuse? Was his parents abusive? Did you see something that said that?
I didn't see it, and I wouldn't have known what it was. What I did see was when we would spend time together, like at church, or you know, even the time, like just little moments, he would be a little bit more aggressive than usual. But usually he was very, very, very charming and sweet. And I know it's Libra season. He was a Libra, for those, you know, who don't know. They're very charming. So, I mean, he was very charming otherwise, but he would have these microaggressions that I would see, and he was very controlling, you know, and which I thought was protective. Like nobody could talk to, no males could even, you know, really look at me. He was like a pit bull. And so like, even like he would come to youth group when I was, if I would like speak out and somebody was even say anything, not even, you know, just not a question, but something that he didn't like or whatever it was, he would like say something. Like he was just more of taking on the role of the protector. So that could have been a sign that I saw at that time of the controlling aspect of it. And then just some of the other things he would do was like, he would mush me, like he would, you know, and call it like him being playful. And I would say, what are you doing? You know, I don't like this, but it still was a giggle because I was, you know, and that in my mind, I was, you know, I liked him. I didn't want to offend him. I thought he was playing. I mean, I had siblings. I really didn't, I was at a young age, understand that that's not okay. But that was like the beginning, those little small signs along the way of the controlling, and then the small hits, or the small physical encounters that are uncomfortable. And you tell a person you don't like it, you tell them your boundaries, and then they just say, oh, don't, and they continue to do it and just pummel through your boundaries.
But when you have boundaries, when you set boundaries or whatever, you're supposed to stick with them. Is that
yeah.
why we have boundaries? So we have a boundary. We say, regardless of what this is, I'm sticking to this. And I guess that's what we learn as we go along, that I got to walk away. If you violate these boundaries, I have to walk away.
Exactly. And I had to learn that, the hard way. I had to learn, looking, like I said, like, situations where I look like Tina Turner, and I can't even talk because my mouth, my jaw is swollen, and my eyes, I can't even see because my eyes are swollen. So like, going through those types of situations where somebody's, you have that type of violence, and you're, at one situation I was like fighting for my life, actually more than one. I've had situations with, just all types of things going on because it was a young, passionate relationship. And I think that's another thing. When you're in a young, passionate relationship, there is no chill. There's no thought. There's somebody could be hiding in the bushes for you, stop playing, because, that is the thought process of somebody who's in love with no regard, because they already, as a young person, you already have these hormones and these feelings that you're a superhero in essence. Well, it's not going to happen to me. I'm special. I'm a, I can fly and all of these things. Not that you can't, but you can't fly over all of your your decisions. You have to take some consequences. So I think that between the hormones of us being very young, and him, seeing some people around him, and I hadn't seen any family of his doing that type of behavior, because I hadn't been around his family until after the baby. And then they would witness it at times, some of his family, and they wouldn't say anything. They would just say, work out your problems, and so, and at the end, right, because they didn't want to be involved, because in their mind, well, you're going to get back with him anyway. That was kind of their thought process. So why should I step in? And 9 times out of 10, that could have possibly happened.
I mean, not even 9 out of 10. How many people do we know that people try to break it up and they go back? I mean, I've seen it myself, that
right.
you go back, so people don't want to step in, and because you could actually get hurt trying to step in, and then you go back, say, I'm in love.
Right. Exactly. And it's really an obsession, and that's not real love at the time, but you can't tell that person that, because they're in that fog. And they can't think of anything else but, where's this person at? What are they up to? What are they doing? All of those types of thoughts that are unproductive in life, to think about anybody, because we don't own anybody. And so
yeah. let's go. I don't want to, you said you don't want to give out too much of your book, but you write it in a way that is telling a story that's not your story. Then you drop jewels, basically.
Yeah.
So you're giving them, hey, this is what happened, but don't get stuck here. Let me give you a jewel. Talk about that and your process for writing.
Yes. And so the book is based on my life. There's so many other things that happen in between those stories that I couldn't put in the book because it would be too long. So that's why I've made it more of a storyline in all of those things, because you can only put so much into one novel, or one self-help book rather. So for me, the jewels to me are, these are foundational principles. And that's what I was speaking about in the beginning of my parents being able to instill in me these certain foundational principles. And I believe that if we're able to follow these certain foundational principles, we're able to really direct our actions in alignment with our mind. We need to be able to sync everything, mind, body, spirit, all of those, in terms of what we want. And I think that when we start to really figure out what we stand for, what our values are, our foundation, we're able to really hone in on this magic that we have, this momentum that we have inside of us, to be able to really go full throttle and pursue our goals, and go full throttle and pursue our dreams, whatever they may be. So I think that it's really important to have these principles. That's why I put them in the book. So if someone didn't want to go and read some of the story, they can go into the pages and look at the chapter gems, and understand the main principles of each story, because everything that I put out, I want to put it out as valuable. Everything should have a meaning to it. I don't want to just put out fluff because it's easy to do. So I wanted to make sure.
So many people talk about fluff, no stuff. Don't do that.
I love it. I love it. So, and that's true. You don't want fluff, no stuff. You want to be able to have, something valuable to be able to go back to and look to as a guide. We all need guides in life. We all need some type of direction. So I also put in biblical principles into the book. This is a faith-based book. It's not just, off the cuff. In essence, there is a direction that this book goes into, and that is to follow what God has been asking you to do, which you in your heart is the right thing to do as well, by understanding with being clear on your principles and your values, and being able to then make the decision to make these things come into fruition. Look at these principles, figure out how you can apply them to your life. And then another key component is, I also ask people to make a vision board. When you read some of the chapter gems, they even make you want to create a vision board. They make you want to see things in a bigger light. I have a empty space where I ask people to write their gems within the book. And this is where you can kind of build some things as far as what you're looking for to be able to create your vision board. And so you can also see visually as you get up, and they can bury into your subconscious mind what you're really looking to do, and you can stay focused. Because I think that a lot of times we get distracted. There's a million things going on in life, and it's very, very easy to just watch the television, pick up something that has no true value, but it's just a time waster, because you're procrastinating, or you don't want to do it. And people assume that they're going to get this moment again to be able to do what they had time to do. And so that's what I learned, is that that moment doesn't always happen, because guess what? Life is tricky and things happen all the time. So when you have the opportunity to do something, do it, because anything can happen.
So with that, right? Mm-hmm. We have principles. We have these gems, and you have structure growing up. So we all fall away from that. So how did it make you a better parent? What did you do parenting wise that was different? Were you strict? Did you go by these principles?
I was. So I was, and it's because another thing is I had little brothers, and I had a little brother I watched a lot at the time before I was out on my own. I changed his diapers. My parents let me, so he was like my little doll, and so, so for me, at least I was able to see my parents have fed the child, and then I worked at the daycare at the church. I was the helper, and I also babysat on the side for money for my mother was a teacher. So I would go to babysit some of her students and stuff with the parent, just different things. We would get friendly and all that. So I felt like I had some type of experience with feeding and all of those things. So it was very helpful for me to have that, because I have now my own child. While I had classes that I took, it still was not the same, because I'm not the type, I like to do things a certain way, I realized. And I think that's because my parents raised me to have certain, these types of standards, where higher standards in essence for myself. And so my father's favorite line was, just don't be stupid. He had a problem with with anybody who's, just don't be, there was no care about you being cute. It was all about you being smart. And so a lot of things that I didn't know as a parent, I had to research too. I wasn't, the type of person who wasn't going to ask questions, or to look to seek knowledge, or to be open to that knowledge, because I was open to hearing things to a degree. So, how these things made me a better parent as I got older. And really, I wound up having 3 kids by the time I was 18. So, this wasn't just, I had 3 kids. I didn't just thought that one, this was, because I'm living at this time in these family, in like a little family structure, like where I have, we have our child, and now we're eating together. So to me, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't even understand the full, I had my own little little family at a young age, in essence. So, the structure was different between us living together, and then me eventually living on my own. And then, I wound up going into another family type of structure, another long-term relationship after that, for some years. And so, again, with another type of family structure. So, by the time I got to just being out on my own and leaving the relationships that I had, I was maybe about 19, 20, and maybe 19 actually, and 18 turned 19, I think, 19, whatever. Long story short, I was not playing any games. Like, I mean, we got up, I was used to, getting the boys up. I had 3 boys at the time. And, we would get up Saturday morning and clean the baseboards, like clean around the, I would play gospel music. And, I had a regiment, because I just felt like my parents, this is how I was raised. So I didn't that's what I was used to. On Sundays, I baked the cake. That was our dessert time. And Sundays we went to church, like they had more church clothes than they had probably other clothes. And, I wound up, and I was able to really hone in on some other, also some different, how it made me a better parent was I was able to find different programs because I was reading. I was really, and I could interpret what I was reading too. That was a big thing as far as what are some of the programs that are out there. And I knew the words, the key words to look at. I knew the Dewey Decimal System and all that. And for the library, I'm taking it back. Right. So I'm taking it back. So I knew, but my point is that I knew how to navigate through the library, and that was a place that I love to go to. And I didn't have a problem with taking these boys, to the library. Or going to read books, because I love to read anyway. I was, that's what I like to do. And I would find different programs. I found a program to help with for Christmas baskets. So every year I would get like food for Christmas. I would get Christmas presents. I found a program for Thanksgiving baskets, so I didn't have to worry about certain things. I found out different programs that I could take advantage of in order to that people a lot of times didn't even know about. Just because these are the ways that I was able to get, just deal with life, and just being able to effectively research and understand what's out there and be able to read some of the documentation that people throw at you is valuable. If you can't interpret what people are throwing at you, even if especially when you're young, because that's when people really try to cheat you. And people don't understand that. When they think you're stupid and you're young, you get all types of situations, because there's a lot of sharks, there's a lot of wolves, a lot of people that come to prey on you when you're a person who's a young person, especially, me as a young girl by myself out there. I had to deal with a lot of situations that I had to keep getting sharper and sharper, because, if I wasn't sharp, then I would die. I wouldn't be here, to a lot of life and death situations, so, I had to learn to be sharp. I had to learn to pay attention. I had to learn to read what people were giving to me, as well as read what they're not giving to me. And so all of that background of being able to interpret knowledge and to read and comprehension is key. That's why I tell these, a lot of these young people, stay in school. School is valuable. Education is valuable. You need to be able to know what people are throwing at you. You need to be able to know and read between the lines. And a lot of that comes with not only it comes with street knowledge, it comes with life knowledge, but it also comes with education of book knowledge. All of those things can make you a powerhouse, so you can take care of yourself and take care of yourself effectively.
So if you follow the same model as your parents, yet you personally, it was constricting for you. So what made you think that it wasn't going to be constricting for you, for your children, and they may rebel in such a way.
So the difference is that I did not force on my children that they had to take an extracurricular activity. I told them I wanted them to. I tried to force them a little bit. Initially, I really did, like with karate and things like that. But then I realized that there are some things that they didn't want to do. And I remember me taking karate back in the day and not wanting to go, and so, I don't care how much they hype me up about the green belt or whatever, the blue, whatever belt it was, I just didn't want to do it. And so, I felt like when I remember taking my kids to karate and, the boys, and they were like, they didn't feel like going. They wanted to go initially, but then they said they didn't want to go when it's time to take them. And, I realized I cannot force it on them. And so I did not do those types of models. I did more of the family structure model. I wanted them to see us eating together. I wanted them to see us cleaning the house together. I wanted them to know how it is, watch me cook and help them with those little small household things. They, help, we would do the laundry. I would show them how to do those types of things. And also I would have Black History Day once a week. And so I needed to teach them about their culture. So keep in mind, I'm from the 90s era where you sit around and build. So, that's what I'm used to. I'm used to, I got into that whole sector of learning about myself because my parents always taught me about myself. I already knew about who invented the stop sign and everything else, like and the all these different inventions, even now to the GPS, you know what I mean? Like there's so many different inventions and so many contributions that my parents, especially my mother as an educator, made sure that we were educated on, and actually all the other children around knew these same things too, because their parents educated them. And so it was important for me to teach my children about who they are as individuals, and that they're loved, as well as to tell them who they are, so they don't feel like they came from slaves, or they came from a people who were not successful in life and who did not contribute to the society. So that was very important. In addition to that, and they'll tell you, I scared them with any type of, and I never, I didn't have to deal with this, thank God, but I used to scare those little boys with pictures of STDs. I did.
Look, you don't want this. Do you see all these bumps? You don't want it.
I've been scared them with all types of stuff because I didn't know what to do with with that type of situation, to scare them from not having sex, because my parents just told me don't have sex, and I'm just kind of like, how do I scare these children straight? You know what I mean? I wanted to make sure that they didn't go the wrong way either. And I think that, because I didn't at the time, again, I'm still young doing these things. Would I do that now to my daughter? I have a 12-year-old now. Absolutely not. I would never do that. But as a young age, these are the things that I was trying to do to my best to try to instill them with knowledge. I would take them to the planetarium. We did a lot of different things, and I would have to get on the bus and do it. I had one in my little pouch, a little area. I had one in the stroller, and I had one holding on to the stroller, and we had to get on the bus. And, and I would take them to these different places. That doesn't mean because it's a little bit difficult to travel that we're not going to go. You know what I mean? And so it was important for them to, for me to take them out, take them to the park, those types of things, because that's what I was used to. And that's what I thought that what a good parent does. You know what I mean?
Let's talk about parents.
Mm-hmm.
Did you forgive your father?
I've forgiven my father because I understand that he was doing the best he knew how. He did the best he can. And there's no guide to being a parent. There really is. It's not. And I've made my own mistakes as a parent. Whatever, we all have as parents made some, and it's not to where I would have done anything to where I'm putting my child out on the street. However, I'm not in that person's situation. And at the same time, I have to think about it. I made the decision to get pregnant. This is their house. You know what I mean? Why am I entitled to their house? And to their money to take care of the child that I created, and it was against their direction and their will. So I had to really look at things in another light too, of a maturity of it doesn't matter how old you are, you have to. I mean, I would say when you're able to recognize some of these decisions, you need to be able to do some introspection and to understand your part. in it. If there is one. And in this one, I had a decision to not skip school, and I decided to skip school, and I decided to make the decision to have sex at that young age. And so that's it, and without protection. And that is the consequences is now, you have to deal with the situation at hand. I didn't want to give my child up for adoption. I couldn't imagine me having a child out in the world without me. It was not something I could fathom at the time. And I commend people who are able to make that hard decision if that worked for them. But for me, it wasn't even an option, because I knew I wanted my child. So if that was gonna, right.
Does your father have remorse? Does he say like,
he apologized? He apologized later on. He did apologize but it was ugly. Let me tell you, it was very ugly for some time, so for me, like my dad, even after I had my son, he was very nasty to me for many, many, many years. He would, if I was at an event that he was at, he would talk to the other children around and ignore my children. Yes. And so, and act like I wasn't there. The children could walk up to his leg. They actually walked up to him, and he'll walk right past you. Like, they'll almost knock you down. Because that was the type of relationship that I had for a long, going through this. And if he saw me, he would find ways to make my life miserable, because they wanted me still to give my child up for adoption. So they did a lot of things. They had called the police on me, saying I was a runaway. It was a lot of situations. And then if I was in a situation where I had to deal with him, he would say stuff like, you're never going to be anything. You're going to be a welfare queen, and you're going to live in a project. And I never lived in a projects, but he would always say that, you're going to live in a project. You're never going to have anything, all that type of stuff. And call me all types of whores. You know what I mean? And that to me was very hurtful at the time, because I had only had sex one time. You know what I mean? I had a boy, I'm in a situation, I'm with one person, and I'm still getting this type of criticism. And I felt like there was nothing I could do to change things. Even though, like, my son's father and I were even going to get married at 16. That's how bad the pressure was. That my mother was going to sign the paperwork, and my parents were going to sign the paperwork for me to be married. And then my son's family decided at the last minute that they were not going to sign the paperwork. So I was even going to be married by 16, because it was such a stigma to have a baby in that family and not be married. So I think that he had to really get over that. Things don't have, that, and he's from an older generation, right? So I don't know what that's like either. That may be something that, he always didn't like as a young person, that he never respected as a young person. I mean, I don't know where, the foundation of where that idea bursts from, where I became that, public enemy, number one.
I think it sounds like it's control. It's not like he wanted to control, but how did you maintain faith? Like, if of course I love Jesus and all that kind of stuff, but if I'm a child, I'm 13 years old, my parents kicked me out. So I'm not seeing God in that. You know what I mean? So how did you maintain your love for Christ when if I'm looking at the parental figures who took me to church, who had me in this religion, but yet they're not displaying, I don't see, you wouldn't see God in that situation. So how did you maintain?
I always had I would say that I had my own personal individual relationship with God. I was already speaking in tongues. I was already praising him. I was already, worshiping him. Like, I knew that this was just a stepping stone in essence. And I always felt like it was being God against, the world and the world's evils and all the things that try to keep, and I'm like, this is warfare in essence. And so I have these, I'm at the time I knew the Bible more, so even though more did in certain because I had nothing else on my mind in that way, except for that was I was always in church. So I always was getting somebody speaking life into me and praying over me and me praying and all of that. I had already had that foundation. So, and that was because it was so personal. I knew to go to him. I knew to go to God. That was my dad, because, and I felt there was a separation of the heavenly from the mortal, from the, from the immortal from the mortal. So I already knew that whatever was going on in this world, God already had me in the spiritual world. And plus I had to keep in mind also, I had a very, 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 very vivid imagination. So a lot of times I could almost live in my mind. I could close my eyes even now and you kind of see a whole full scope, picture of picturesque something, and it'll just come to me. And it's kind of like I already felt this powerful connection with him, with God. And I felt like he was already, I had this other spiritual life that was separate from whatever was going on. And so I knew to go to him. So what happened was when I would get married, when I would get mad rather in this world, in essence, in the physical world, mm-hmm. in the physical world, yes, I would be able to, I would pull out, I would be more angry, and that's where I had to learn to control the anger. I would be angry, and the anger would turn into what Tony Robbins says when he says get disturbed. And then you take action. You got to get disturbed to take action. So I would get disturbed. And let me tell you, that's when I would take action, because then my mind would go and I would start to strategize and to think of how to get myself out the situation. I wasn't just going to sit there over, I had to think my way through it. And I knew I had to analyze all of the different facets of what was going on around me in the physical world to be able to move forward. But I also knew in the spiritual world, I had to lean on God, because I didn't have anybody else to lean on, and so I'm not going to turn my back on him and have nobody, you know what I mean? Then what is life? Then I would, at that point, then why should I move forward? Why should I wake up? Why should I breathe? Why should I live for my child if I have nothing that to live, that's motivating me inside, intrinsically rather motivating me to move forward. So, I really feel like just my spiritual relationship is, my relationship with God is just always been at the forefront, because I've had that strong foundation. I've had that personal relationship. And I knew that if it's not God, then who, who?
But you understand that there's people who will blame people. Like they'll even see a pastor and say, I'm not about church. I'm not about this because a person, a father head or a head did this. So people do see that and turn the other way. But what the point is that you had a personal relationship. Mm-hmm. God has given you this personal thing beforehand. You chose him. It wasn't like I'm just going to church.
Right.
You chose each other. God chose you from that point on. But
Amen.
Just know that people do. I know people like, I'm not doing church anymore because the pastor cheated on his wife. I feel like church is bad, but
right. And I know a lot of people who I know exactly what you're talking about, and there are people I know of who have done that, and at some point it's called cognitive dissonance, and I may be saying that without my point is this: people will know the truth, but they don't want to believe it, because the work that it is required to be able to deal with their own mess is too great, that they rather stay in this place of stagnation of whatever that is. So they'll put blame on others for that, and wrongfully so in certain situations. There is sometimes when there is a blame of things like systematic racism. Okay, that's some real stuff that's going on, that we can really literally say that that's real. Now, when you're talking about something to whereas the pastor didn't do nothing, the pastor's not God. So are you there for the Lord, or are you there for for the word? Because guess what, God can speak through anybody too. You know what I'm saying? So what are you really there for? And not to say that you want to be around somebody who's blatantly unholy and trying to be, and deal with somebody of little integrity. That's not what I'm saying. But I know church hurt is different, especially when you're getting a close-knit church and you get too wrapped up into people, and you've gotten so wrapped up into the people, you forgot why you came there in the first place, which was to build and connect with the Lord. These people are just vessels. Okay, there's nobody above or below even the pastor. everybody is still the same at the end of the day. One may have more knowledge in certain things than others, but at the same time, there's no higher up in God's eyes. So are you there to connect with whom? And so if a person can really focus on what they came there for, the true focus, then they won't be distracted by what so-and-so did and all the gossip, because that's not you. You're judging at that point. So are you really there to know the word, to learn about God, to fellowship, or are you there to bash somebody? Or are you there to judge? And it's so interesting because so many people are judging, and they are the sinners, and sinners' judgment is invalid, in my opinion. So, I mean, you can't judge on something that when you're out there doing something that I'm sure, God will not approve of. So, I mean,
we're all, that's because we're all sinners,
Yes.
no matter what,
no matter what.
We are all sinners.
So all of us. So stop blaming people and all of that. But to each his own. I'm not empathetic to those types of situations. I understand that sometimes we just need some type of counseling too. And then there's some people who are just not going to ever change. And are those the people that you really want to be around and give your energy to? Because that to me is like, when somebody's constantly blaming someone else and for them not having the relationship that they're supposed to have with God, I personally can only help you and lead you, but I can't be around that energy too long if you're not willing to change or wanting to change. Because unless God's moving me to do so, right? That's the exception. If God tells you to do it, you ain't got a choice.
No, you gotta do it.
But
so what is God telling you to do next? I mean, you have the book. The book is out now. What's your next project? What do you want? Are you going to write another book? Are you going to be what is your plans? What are your plans? Your plans?
Well, I'm definitely going to write another book. I'm actually in the process of writing a second book. So I'm super, super excited about that. Another Jewels collection. So yes. And I also have 2 new projects coming out this year. I have a journal as well as a planner. Ooh. So stay tuned for those. And there's going to have all personalized affirmations and stories and all of those things that are going to make it an amazing addition to your 2021. So, and even now with the journal, just writing down your thoughts. I always say, into your mind each night, you'll have a better sleep too. So the journal is going to be very helpful for some people who are looking for something to really empty their thoughts and get fresh and clear, which is needed right now.
Absolutely.
Needed.
Absolutely. So what about other business? So you do books and you have the journal and everything's going.
I'm still mentoring.
I
am mentoring. I'm still mentoring. So I have my mentees still. I have some things going on in the business world. I'm not fully able to divulge yet, but I do have some things happening in addition to this behind the scenes that is even more of a collaboration in some instances. So I definitely have a new site coming up, a new website as well, with some great options for those who are looking for one-on-one personalized coaching calls, for those who are interested in fitness, because as I am a personal a certified fitness trainer as well.
I'm sorry, I didn't know that. I'm gonna stop right there because I didn't know. I know, we both, you do fitness, you inspire me. You go a little harder than I do. Sometimes I give up, but I didn't know that's what you do. I didn't know you were a trainer.
Well, I just do that. I haven't trained anyone. I'm training somebody now actually, but I haven't really went out there and started to fully train as a full-time. I do have a full-time job. I'm actually on my break. But I do have a full-time job as well. Yeah, I'm fine as well. So, at the end of the day, I have a lot of different things that I do in essence that really, really allows me to think outside the box, because some of these things are totally different than what, and I'm able to really spread that around. In addition, I'm also, as you mentioned, I'm doing the Jewels custom vision boards. And so they have been selling like hotcakes. I have a page on Instagram called at Jewels with a Z custom vision boards as well. And that's So that's really amazing because I'm able to really hone in on technology to be able to create vision boards for people through and how I create them. I pray over the person, and then whatever it comes into as a vision is what I make in the likeness of that person using technology, facial technology, to create a scene and a background that is in the likeness of that person. So check that out. It's really, really cool. You looked amazing, Shelly.
Yes,
You're
thank you.
gorgeous
I
now.
loved mine.
Yeah.
I loved it. Everybody loved it too. Thank you so much.
Thank
When
you.
I saw yours, I was like, oh my gosh, I want one too. Yes, I wanted it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
But let's talk about you. You also do every Sunday. You do Survivor.
Oh, yes. Survivor's Jewels. So I have a show on Instagram. It's called Survivor's Jewels. It's a series, an IG series rather. And that takes place every Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure you guys tune in for that. Shelly, I can't wait to have you on to my show. I don't know what happened.
Yes, whenever, just yes, please. I saw that you had Zaire Rahim.
I did. Week. Oh my goodness. Yes, he is absolutely phenomenal, amazing. What a story. For those who have not checked that out, go to my page, Justice Jewels with a Z, JUSTUSJEWELZ on Instagram, and check out my last IG series. It's posted on my page, maybe the second to last post, and it is a recap of what an amazing interview, so inspiring, so touching and moving to hear the story of someone who's been through lifetimes, it seems, just different journeys, and just to be, to win the Olympics 2 times. I mean, the journey is amazing.
It is amazing. I knew him as crazy. I met him back then, and he did. When somebody wins the Olympics, you're not expecting them to be your friend. But he didn't. Some people, this and this. He was so humble back then. I'm talking about back right when he won the Olympics. We became friends and been friends ever since. And it's like, his head's not big. He's still relatable, approachable, and he's always just been a great, great friend. But yes, make sure you check out Jules every Sunday and go get the recap. I don't know, my computer just said something. Don't mess up, computer, because sometimes the technology. Because what I want to do, I know it's late. We're at well after 2. I wanted to know if you wanted to pray for us. Pray in general.
I usually like to make prayer a very private, one-on-one, personalized feeling, and only because I don't know who's online, and I always am a little bit more cautious too with my prayers now. So don't think I'm being
no, that's fine. Actually, there is a scripture for that. There's a scripture that says, "Go to your prayer closet."
Yes, amen. Exactly. That's where we're at right now with that. But for those who are looking for prayer and who are looking for a prayer partner, please, I will definitely pray with you too if you DM me into my Instagram if you're looking for one-on-one prayer, because I love to, to definitely help where I can and see where there's a need. And so that's another thing I want to leave the guests with for those who are teenage parents, or those who know of teenage parents who are in need of assistance or some resources. Feel free to reach out to me on Instagram, DM me, so I can provide assistance and help with that. And also make sure that you go to my site, www.droppinjewels, DROPPINJEWELZ.com, to see a little bit more of the bio and some of the different services that I also offer on my site, and where you can also purchase my book, Dropping Jewels, Guiding Principles to Help Girls Live Their Best Life. So thank you so much, Shelly. I so appreciate you.
No, thank you for, like I said, the shift was supposed to happen. Sometimes you just don't know. And for me to always have, I'm telling you, the book is right here. It's right next to me. And you see, I'm reading. I'm so much going on. But you see, I have read. I've been reading it. And
Yes,
when I get
thank
a chance
you.
to, I get to another page. But
What's your feedback on the book so far?
I thought it was a great information. When I said to that, I was like, wow, she's writing it from a position of not being you almost. It's like, I was wondering, I'm always wondering, why she did it that way. That was my only thought. Like, wonder why she's doing it that way.
And
because it draws you in and you're right there and you're turning the page. And I'm like, but this is her life, but it doesn't, you're not writing as if it's your life.
Right. And I think that, which I like the fact of having the twistiness to be able to put down the parts that that makes sense of the story. And I think that sometimes when you get too literal and you put your name to things too. And thank you so much for that feedback, Shelly. You are awesome. I appreciate so much your support of my book. I mean, you've been one of my first supporters. Being on your show has been amazing, where we all sat in that panel. So I want to just praise you up and just, say how amazing you are. How thankful I am that you were brought into my life by Brittany Miller.
Yes, shout out to Brittany Miller. She is listening right now.
Shout out to her. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brittany. Thank you for putting us together. So, but I would say that, sometimes when you're writing a book, and you make it to, and you have different people who are listening to your story. People are waiting for their part. They're like, well, what about me? You didn't put me in the book. Oh. So, I think that's another thing with sometimes when you're writing first person, you have, there's more of a responsibility, I think, to put even more of be more detailed, I think. And then for people to draw their conclusions. I think that when you put it into third person, because again, I can only put down there's parts that I had to skip too. I mean, there's some parts as you read through the story that you're like, well, how did she get from here to there in certain instances? Which will be also discussed in these other books, further series as we go along, more in my second book too. I'll touch more into the story. And I think that it allows you to more flexibility in your story, as well as it allows you to feel more free. Because I mean, I think sometimes when you're too literal, people are just really like, hold on, you went there on Wednesday, you went on Tuesday type of situation.
Right. I get
so it just made more sense for me to be at ease when writing my book. But everybody who is even in the storyline that I have, even as third person, has been super, super supportive. My mom sells my books at church. My dad pushes my book. So do my siblings and all of that. As well as my son's father. I have actually, I've taken pictures with him in my book. He's happy for me. We get along great. And so, I'm able to have.
Wait. So that means you were able to forgive him for the abuse. Yes. You forgave him for the abuse because, I mean, that's yes. Some people, and that's great for you, but you understand some people don't get over it. Some people
I do understand. Forget. I think that, because I was young when it happened, we were kids. I was able to understand that we were we were childlike, in essence. So that part was a little bit easier for me to forgive, because now I'm an adult. And that time has passed. And even so, I think honestly, the relationship that I had with him, he was like the only person, my person at the time. And so, at least we had a lot of situations that occurred. And so I think it was a little bit easier for me to forgive him, because some of the things that he did that were positive. So that made up a lot of the things. So it wasn't all negative. He did a lot of positive things too. But we also had these issues that were going on, which, that didn't allow the relationship to work. So I think at the end of the day, we still had love for one another and respect for, a certain type of respect over the years. Which has been helpful, because now we're really great friends, and we don't have any drama. We haven't had drama since we were kids, to be honest with you. And so we don't have those types of, we don't have those types of issues. And
Did he get help? Personal help? Because
he got help. Yes. He got counseling. I got counseling.
Okay.
Yeah, we both got counseling. We actually, at one point we did counseling together.
Good,
So, you know, and so that was extremely helpful because you have to do some personal work to be able to fight through those demons. It doesn't just happen because you wanted to will it and you say you're not going to do it. There's a reason behind why you're
Mhm.
reacting in that type of manner, to whatever the trigger is, to be able to hit the person that you're supposed to be keeping safe and to love. So, you know, you definitely, you know, a person needs counseling, they need some outside help to get them there. It's not going to take their boy or their girl, their friend, whoever helping, trying to talk to them. They need somebody who is a professional to be able to really get down in there, because this is a serious thing when you're hitting somebody and you're putting their life at danger, you're causing bodily harm to anybody. So, you know, it's better to get the professional help than to assume that you're okay and you've been cured of whatever it is that, you know, that caused that anger in the first place. And then you go on to do something to where you can't take back. So I always recommend for young men or men in general who have put their hands on somebody to make sure that, you know, or have done, I say put your hands on, but we know that means domestic violence.
In October, this is October.
So
October is
yes, it's October's
domestic
domestic violence, but exactly.
month.
And so, and in light of that, that is important for men who have been the aggressor in domestic violence to get the proper help, professional help that's needed, so they don't make the same action occur again, and to you know, potentially take a life. Because you never know what can happen in these situations. Someone can hit their head. They can, you know, one hit can be the end of someone at times if you're, you know, not realizing what you're doing or seriously hurting somebody, take anything. So, you know, you have to be very cautious when you're in these types of situations. And for women, the same thing. On the flip side, if you get out of of a domestic violence situation, again, in the honor, if you can even say you're doing it in the honor of October being domestic violence, domestic violence month, take the time out to contact your local women's space or women's shelter. You can always Google community resources and put down women's shelter or women's help. And look and do a Google search to find out some centers that will be helpful and to offer you free counseling if it's needed. And I do feel like it is needed if you come out of this situation, because it's very easy to get back into another situation with somebody totally different, but who is also an abuser, because for some reason there are some things that inside of you that you have not healed, that is, you know, you're allowing these types of individuals to come into your life and to get this type of control over your being. So you need to figure out why you're allowing anybody to play God in your life. That's not God. So it's a very serious thing to make sure that you get that proper help that you need, so you're not putting yourself and your life or your children's life in danger, or those around you. It could be friends or family. Nobody wants to deal with this with that type of situation if they don't have to. So it's very important. So I'm going to leave with that.
I want to. I forgot about Facebook. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go right to, just in case somebody had a question for you. I'm gonna go because I forgot to check in on
No,
Facebook.
okay.
I'm so sorry. Look at the comments. Ooh. Oh, okay. Hey, everyone said hey. Lucinda said hey. Kevin, this is not the messenger. It is the message and knowing where. Oh, okay. That was to us talking about religion and when how some people go. So he's Ken Murray said it's not the messenger. It's not the messenger. It's the message.
Amen.
The messenger is human. True indeed. Oh.
That's right.
She says, Lucinda says, sounds like my house. I'm not sure what that meant and what that was too. So I'm not going, you know.
Right. We're not going to speculate.
Yeah, I'm not going to. Tamara
but
said,
okay,
hey.
Lucinda, thank you for the comment too.
She said, well, yeah, they're listening to you right now. I just didn't want to forget that for some reason I can't see all my comments, but they're all there. Thank you all so much for watching. I apologize for not checking back in, but the conversation was so good and I didn't want to interrupt. Thank you so much, Kendra. Make sure y'all go get the book. I'm telling you, it is right here for me. It's right here for me, and I'm learning a lot. Like, not even that. Like I said in the beginning, you're such an amazing supporter, and I thank you for just being in my life. So And then
Oh,
that shift, that
thank
pivot,
you.
she shift right in on in here, like, yes, I got you. Yeah.
That's right. Thank you so much, Queen. I so appreciate you. Thank you for this opportunity. And thank you for all that's what those who are watching. Have a beautifully blessed day. And I'll speak to you soon.
All right. See you later.
Bye.
Bye. All right. I hope you enjoyed it. The conversation, the dialogue was definitely informative. Every interaction I've had with Kendra, it's just been amazing. Thank you to Brittany. I mean, really, like, energy is important when you connect with the right energy, meaning your first connection is Brittany, then every connection after that has been amazing because Brittany has a good spirit. People that align with Brittany have great spirits, and that's important. That is important when it comes down to life. Your energy draws your energy, so that even in relationships, your energy draws your energy. So what about your energy is drawing the wrong people? You get what I'm saying? So in my business life, in these interviews, my energy, I prayed, I asked, I wanted to make sure that whoever is here on this platform was, God wanted me to do it. And he really just popped them into place. And Kendra has been on my mind for days. I literally was like, I thought I was wondering, Kendra, what we gonna do? I wish I could do, because actually 30 interviews in 30 days is booked, Woo-hoo. God is a blessing. He's in the blessing business. He's so awesome. So thank you so much. Don't forget Indie Black Media. I forgot to ask about Indie Black Media Network. If you are a podcaster, YouTuber, whatever you are, join Indie Black Media Network. It is a collective. It is a media mastermind group, a group of just creatives getting together. I'm going to teach, I'm going to do classes, courses, and I'm going to have some of my media mentors come in and teach as well, because media to me is a business. Some people just do it as a hobby, but media to me is a business. And I take it from the day I stepped on Urban Expressions. I said business. My mind went business. I love going out there and doing all those interviews and hanging out all those clubs, but eventually you get tired. You get tired of it. There was a time you get tired of going to club after club after club. I mean, I remember days when I had, oh my God, I had to work, I had a 9-to-5 job. So I remember being at Gotham, and I love Gotham, but it was long. We was there for hours. I remember leaning on a speaker on the side, falling asleep, like on the side, like it's club, it's music, but I'm leaning because I got to get up in the morning. But not saying it's not fun, but it's a lot. So doing a lot, you want to turn it into a business. So it is a business. Indie Black Media Network, go join the group. The launch is November 26th. So thank you. I think DJ Kid Disco was asleep right now.
I was not asleep.
Oh, I'm sorry. He looked like he was asleep. He looked like I was in the club.
I was sitting here listening to every word.
He was like he was in the club like this.
Oh, it's been times where I've been in the booth DJing, was working at night as the Eye Institute as the janitor. So I would literally be out the house from Thursday to Sunday.
That was real. Those was real. Like when you this I remember not getting any sleep because Gotham would stay open till after 2. So we're there after 2, and I'm getting up and I think at the time I worked at the bank. That was my first real job at the bank. So I'm going to the bank counting money, tired, but I was an excellent teller.
I remember Delaware Avenue, period. Gotham, Egypt,
Ritz, Bahama Bay. There's another little club somewhere I'm missing.
Phoenix, Kim Grace.
Phoenix was on 720 Arch Street. Look at me, 720 Arch Street. Phoenix.
As Kim Grace, then it was the Phoenix.
I didn't know. That wasn't my era.
Brave New World.
Well, Phoenix became Brave New World, yes.
it was so many different names. Is my point.
Are you saying Kim Graves used to own that? That was where Kim Graves was at 720 Arch? I didn't know that. Wow. And how that wasn't my error or anything like that. But the fact that Kim Graves' son, Scott Graves, and I are friends, and we worked together. When I did single on a Saturday night, it was Scott. I was at Kia Graves, the spot. So and then I got the chance to meet Kim Graves, and we became friends and all that kind of stuff. So that's my peoples. That's my family. So that's crazy. Now Phoenix was
the spot.
I was not, no, but Phoenix, I was not 21. I wasn't even allowed to go to the club.
Lying.
No. I'm not lying. I'm not lying to you. I'm not sitting there lying. I wasn't 21. I snuck into the club. Oh. But sneaking into the club, I didn't sneak in that club to drink. I promise you that. I wasn't sneaking in to drink. I love to dance. I mean, when I say whoo, 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 I love to dance. I thought dancing was I told you I wanted to be a dancer. So Phoenix allowed me to dance.
Now here's the ironic part. I sneak into Kim Graves. When it was Kim Graves, I sneak in there because I was like 17, 18.
Yeah, I wasn't even 21. But how I snuck in was I realized at 5 o'clock it was what they called it, happy hour or whatever. So it was happy hour. So at happy hour, they wasn't paying attention as much. Now I know this was a long day, you tired or whatever. So I'm sneaking in at 5 so I can stay for the after part. So I get in at 5, they don't pay attention. They're not paying attention there, right? They're not paying attention. So I get in at 5. That's me and Monica. Me and Monica did it together. Of course, we did it together. We was like, yo, we're gonna get to this club. And it was a ritual. It was like, I can get into a club. I'm not 21, but I'm gonna get into this club. I gotta go at 5. I knew my hours. Get in at 5, stay all night, and then at the end of the night, I'm on dance floor all night long. That's where I saw Salt and Pepper live there. Mm-hmm. I saw Tony Terry live there. I'm telling you, it was. And the thing is, it helped me. It helps my career because by the time Gotham opened up, I knew every guard. I knew every guard. I don't know what you call them now. Bodyguard, the person at the door. What do they call them?
The door boy.
I ain't calling them. The person at the door. They were my friends. So by the time I'm walking up in Gotham, Urban Expressions might have had 2 people supposed to be on the guest list. And you know, Ed's show. Ed go first. But me and Monica, because God said, I know. You say what God is in you going to a club, but he set it up so much that we knew them. They let us in, and like I said, Urban Expressions only had two on the list, but we still got in, which solidified me. Meaning, man, we could get in wherever we can get. We got in wherever because I snuck in the club at 17 years old. Well, not 16 years old. Sorry.
What about when teenagers start sneaking in?
Well, I wasn't allowed out. My mom was very strict, but we found a way. We found a way to get out the house. That's funny. I ain't gonna tell you the way. What's up, Supreme? That club was.
We was able to go in the after midnight.
After I don't know the after midnight. I mean, I know of it, but I didn't go to the after midnight. I wasn't old enough.
Listen, those are you probably not. All jokes aside. After midnight was like 80. Oh my God. 80. Shoot, I was still in high school. So I'm going to say 83, 84. That's where I first saw Tough Crew, Big Daddy Kane, LL, Run DMC, Schoolie live. We saw everybody. Like, that was a ritual.
I mean, those were the days. Supreme said that club was 1,000 names, 100 names. You know, I can't see. He said 100 names. So he said it used to be Illusions. Brave New World used to be Illusions. Used to be
It was first.
But what is it now? What is it now? And the guy Mike still owns it, right?
Something because Cash Money was doing something down there last year, I think it was.
And Mike, the brothers who own this thing on South Street, the Reef, The Reef on South Street, I think they own the same. They both own that. So the ones who own the Reef own the old Brave New World. I believe still, things have changed. We don't know what happened after COVID or whatever. I don't know.
Ken Rays, then the Phoenix, then Brave New World. No,
Brave New World. No, you're right. Phoenix, Brave New World. Yep.
Brave New World, then Illusions.
Mm.
I think it was the Cat. No, the Cat Club. The Cat Club was on.
No, I don't know nothing about no Cat Club.
Cat Club was on Chestnut Street. You had at that time at the Cat Club, the Ritz.
The Ritz was down the street. The Ritz was over here on the cross the street.
Yeah.
Down the street. So the Ritz was. I like the Ritz. I actually did. That's when I'm telling you. You know how when you say got an old soul, the Ritz had the Butterball.
I used to go.
Wait a minute. I definitely wasn't old enough or whatever, but something said because on Sunday nights they had it, but those situations allowed me to connect to people before. This was before urban. This is before all that stuff. But who knew that you go here, you get connected. You go here, and then you have these connections for life. You have connections for life. You know what I mean? That's where it comes from.
Like Booker's.
Who? Sid Booker's?
Yeah.
Sid Booker, shout out to my sister Tanya Booker and my nephew Terry. That's my family right there.
So you've been to one of Booker's, I know you've been to Booker's Christmas parties.
Christmas party. Every summer there's a pool party. Although people really don't get in the pool, but every summer there's a pool party. I mean, I'm supposed to go every year, but when it's hot, I can't do outside.
One of Booker's Christmas parties.
Booker's Christmas party?
Yeah, off the hook. That's when I was floating between Club La Pointe and Broad Street Eddie's.
Oh yeah, La Pointe and Stinger, same club, La Pointe, Stinger.
Upstairs.
Stinger La Pointe. Yeah.
Not Broad Street Eddie's, Impulse.
Impulse that's Broad and Erie, right?
Yep. It was
Broad and Erie. I didn't party there at all, but later on, Urban Expressions had a team party there. I know that sounds crazy, but on different days without alcohol and all that stuff, we had one team party there because without alcohol, it's just a location.
Impulse, Chuck's, which is
Chuck's is the cheesesteak place.
No. Chuck's turned into the Studio 37, right on the corner of Broad and Erie.
I don't know. You mean Chuck's meaning the cheesesteak place, Max's?
No, not Max's. You on the other side, Broad. I'm talking about right.
Oh, you know why I got stuck? Because the owner is Chuck. The owner of Max's is Chuck.
No, the actual name of the spot was Chuck's. Chuck's Alibi that's open now up in the Northeast. Mm-hmm. That would be Chuck's on Broad and Erie.
On Broad and Erie, yeah, because the Chuck's Max's is owned by Chuck.
Owned by Chuck.
Alibi, and that's probably was his spot across the street too.
And Chuck's turned from Chuck's to Studio 37. When it became,
I don't remember that one.
37, that was the hottest club in North Philly. Shout out to DJ Kurt, because he had that joint on fleek.
Yeah. Look, we're going back down memory lane. Shout out to Rashawn. Rashawn Howard, Motivation Monday. Don't forget, Motivation Monday is on Monday, the 19th at 7:30 p.m. And it's going to be Robert E. Williams. He is an accountant. He's going to talk about accounting for businesses and nonprofits, where some people, we just make this money or we make this side money. But if you don't have your records right, if you don't keep it right,
that would be me.
If you don't keep everything right, it could come back to bite you in the booty. Matter of fact, if COVID didn't teach us anything, if I had some of my paperwork together, I would have been able to apply for some stuff. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If some stuff was together, I would have been able to apply. So Monday, October 19th, 7:30 p.m. You can go to Eventbrite, Motivation Monday, 1019.eventbrite. Sign up so you can get the link, because you can come on, you can ask questions, you can be a part of it. So that is Monday at 7:30. So shout out to Rashawn. Thank you for supporting Black media. He bought an ad in the Scoop newspaper. So shout out to him. Yay. Thank you.
Can I
Um
somebody real quick?
hmm,
Can I shout somebody real quick?
sure, go shout somebody else.
Linda Trotter has her show tonight on Folks Radio.
Yes, Lucinda Trotter. She was watching today.
Yes.
She's the one that said something about it sounds like her house, but I really would have to elaborate on it. Her show gonna be jumping tonight. She got the LGBTQ community. She's got
She called. I'm gonna tell the story real quick. The story before the show. She called me and said, "You ever heard of P Valley?" I was like, "No, what is that?"
Yes, I watched me some P Valley.
She said,
"Down on the corner with it."
She said she wanted to do the show, and I went to look. I was like, called her back, saying, "I ain't doing that." She said, "No, I want to do it with you. You got to do it. Stop being closed minded." I'm not being closed minded, but this is off the hook. But this is grown folks.
I watched let me tell you, my niece Brittany, we one day it was a hair day. Monica was doing my hair. You know, we have hair days. So anyway, Monica came over to do my hair, and we was sitting around eating. Huh?
What's a hair day?
Just a hair day. Anyway, so we're sitting and we're eating our food. I think Brittany went to get sushi. We was eating the food, and then she was like, "So what we gonna watch?" And I was like, "I've been wanting to watch something this." So she put on P Valley. We start watching it. Before we know it, was 3:00 in the morning because I didn't want to stop. She left, went home. She's like, "I'm tired now." She left, went home. I watched most of it. I think I left maybe 2. I think I caught up to the season. Yes, P Valley. I like that.
Is it that deep?
I don't know. It's ratchet and good.
Ratchet cells.
It's not. No, I'm not even into ratchet. I'm not into the. But something about it. It had like so many layers or whatever. It has layers. I mean, it had like a family element, even though they're strippers or whatever when you call it, entertainers, whatever you want to call them. It had that element, and then because Cliff he's femme, but he has the beard and everything. But he was funny. He's a caring person. He's the stripper. He's the club owner, but he's caring. They care for the hoes in there. And I don't know why I just called them the hoes. See that makes you go. And then I'm walking around like, "Yo, you my bottom joint." And the bottom B is.
Yeah, I gotta check this. I had never heard of it until the other day.
I love it. Like I'm telling you, I love it.
Well, if you want to check it out tonight at 8:00 on Grown Folks Radio.
Tonight, 8 p.m. grownfolksradio.com. You can go to Eddie Davis. You can go to Lucinda Trotter. Check it out live. But if wherever you are, don't forget to go to thegrownfolksradio.com. Down in the valley.
We also got the Grown Folks Radio official radio page on Facebook. It's going to be coming from there too.
Oh, you mean the fan page, the like page?
Yes.
Yeah, not somebody's friend page, right?
No. The like page, the actual page. It'll be coming from there.
So go is it the Grown Folks Radio?
Yes, the Grown Folks Radio. Yeah.
That's right. Grown Folks. Marketing, branding all across the board. Got to be the same.
Wait a minute. YouTube, Periscope, Twitch, Mixcloud, Facebook. Mm-hmm. I'm only missing one because I hate to admit.
What?
I'm so Instagram ignorant.
Well, you can Restream don't broadcast the Instagram anyway.
I don't know how do you, even if it did, I don't know nothing about no Instagram.
It don't broadcast it as Cicely. Thank you for watching, Cicely. Thank you so much. You've been supporting the whole time. Thank you to Kim Murph. Noel T. Rainey. Thank you so much for watching. Kim Murph is coming up on the 21st. I believe that's your date. 21st. Whoop whoop. So Murph. I think it's late now. I think we done
it's 2:45.
It done got late. I don't know. Somehow the day got by.
Well,
down in the valley.
All this time and I don't mind because usually we have great mixes by this great DJ and other great DJs. But you need talk every once in a while. You need real human chatter.
Chatter, human chatter. I like the chatter.
Chatter every once in a while. I like chatter. And because it's Thursday, I don't have a lot going on, so I can, because my Wednesdays are like, everybody's right back to back to back to back to back to back to back. Starting with the Melanie morning show, then you, then Dr. Webb's what do you call that? What do you?
Rebroadcast.
Yeah, that. Then
Oh, we got to. Oh my goodness! Rest in peace to Earl Harvey. Earl Harvey was the man. Black professional news. He had events. Any event he had, people was lined up. He just recently passed away, so I definitely have to say our condolences to his family and everybody. Everybody knows Earl Harvey, my man, my friend, number one supporter. He did. I mean, he put. Soon as I did single on a Saturday night, he put an ad in the paper. And when I say a response, and you don't see that too often, people say, who's reading new paper? Let me tell you something. He put an ad in the paper. And when I say people showed up to single on a Saturday night that first day, based off of the ad in Black Professional News. So
really,
it was no lie. No, I met a few people from that one ad and he ran it every week. So thank you to Earl Harvey. I know that, you're smiling down on us from heaven and but your life meant so much. Your life meant so much to so many people you touched, so many, like literally.
can I tell you something?
So,
That's what they say about you.
it's not about me, but no, this is about Earl Harvey. Earl Harvey was amazing. Like the last time I saw him, he was getting an award at so somebody was giving him his roses while he was here. Earl Harvey, definitely shout out to everybody who knows and will miss him, his family and everything. Rest in peace, Earl Harvey.
There's so many people that we don't know that was integral. And you know who I was thinking about when we were just doing that? Mr. Webb.
I was thinking of Mr. Webb because it's like the same thing. It's like our mentors from our mentors, our older mentors, they're leaving us. And this to me is why it's so important to have these conversations with people who are doing business. It's important because they have so much knowledge and there's so many things. How many conversations I've had with Dr. Webb, I don't know what Dr. Webb, Bruce Webb. How many conversations I had with Bruce Webb, and how many conversations did Cherie have with Sonny Driver, or how many conversations did I have with Earl Harvey? And if I could have bottled it up and had it here on a platform that I can refer back to it, I'm holding back tears right now. Like seriously, I wish I could have bottled these conversations up and been able to have them right now. There were conversations on the phone, conversations in person, conversations, and we didn't have it. So I plan to continue having conversations because the knowledge that people have should not go to. Now the older people didn't do courses. They didn't do courses.
Well, maybe
they didn't do courses in coaching, huh?
maybe it's time for us. Maybe it's God giving us a sign that it's time for us to become mentors.
Well, that's what I'm doing. I'm sorry. Already doing that. Already in that process.
Okay.
Not a sign, already in the process. Remember, this is what I've been working on the whole time for COVID. Yes, this is what we're working on. This is what I've been working on the whole entire time. But it is that. But what I'm saying is the older people did not have courses in coaching and mentoring. If Earl Harvey would have taught a class, he used to do the networking events. But I don't have any of the footage. If he'd have done a class, I would have taken Earl Harvey's class. His knowledge,
Do classes back then.
They didn't have what we have now, the courses and the coaching. So if you want to learn from a mentor right now, I suggest you take my class. You hire me as a consultant. No, I'm not kidding. Don't
Not
the way I feel, Dorothy Brunson, the first African American woman to own a TV station. I wish I could have bottled up her knowledge. I wish that I would have been more of a sponge to her knowledge. This is why when you say what is your why? This is why. This is why I have these conversations. This is why I bring people on, because I want to have these conversations that I could not have. I can't go back and have a conversation with Dorothy Brunson. I can't go back and have a conversation with Bruce Webb, Sonny Driver, now Earl Harvey. I can't go back and have these conversations that I wish I would have had before, or I wish I would have filmed them.
while I was smiling, I wasn't laughing. I was smiling to concur her because somebody asked me a stupid question about maybe a couple weeks ago. How can she be your mentor and you're older than her? Age has nothing to do with it.
Oh no, age has nothing to do with it.
So I'm going to co-sign that Shelly would make a great mentor. How do I know this? Because she's mine. I went to her. I said, I need help. I don't know what I'm doing. Can you help me? I don't know what I'm doing. And you know what she said, y'all? No, you really don't.
Gotta be honest, but no, he knows what he's doing. Technical, he has that technical down. Monica signed on. Monica, where you at, honey? Where you at, sister? What's going on?
Co-producer.
Hmm?
I thought she was your co-producer.
She is. She co-producer. She co-producer. Sometimes she got things to do. Like, well, I'm not gonna tell what her business where she at right now, but you know,
Life happens.
life, you got to be out and about. But she definitely, Monica held it down this whole entire time. And I gotta tell Monica, November 1st, 4 p.m. Politics. It's gonna be millennials, and Gen Xers, Gen Zers. I gotta figure out what category you're in.
Our parents would be baby boomers.
Baby boomers is parents, so Gen Xers, Gen Zers. So it's going to be a conversation about politics and voting and things like that. Juan, my nephew Juan, which is Monica's son, he's going to be the millennial as well as Rockstar P. And on the Gen Xer, Gen Zers is going to be Tony Payton Jr. He former state representative. He definitely knows politics. This is what he does. This is what he do. Monica and I will act as moderators. I will not talk politics. I won't talk. I can't claim to know any. I know what's going on, but I'm not going to get into details on any of those things. But it is late, y'all.
There's one name you forgot.
Well, we know you going to do it. We know DJ Kid Disco.
Say that. No, we don't.
Well, we know DJ Kid Disco because that's the whole point. I mean, y'all be talking about that. Y'all be talking about that politics stuff. That's not my thing.
That orange fella.
Orange fella. I mean, it's just a discussion, a dialogue on highlighting different things about each candidate, who you like, who you don't like. But it is late, y'all. We've been here for too long.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting late. Why you got to be here beside me? I'm sorry.
And I'm getting hungry, and I'm not door dashing for at least 2 weeks.
I'm hungry too, and I'm not door dashing either. I never was.
They screwed me over again.
Again?
I ordered Wendy's. I got Burger King.
You told me that.
Oh, well, I ain't messing with them since then. Well, let me.
Don't they have Uber Eats or somebody?
They expensive.
Uber Eats, Grubhub.
Grubhub is good. Anything with Uber is expensive.
I don't order from any of those people. I don't order anybody from any of them.
Well, I'm a self-proclaimed hermit. I ain't got no choice.
Oh, my phone is ringing.
But oh, look at your phone. Hotline, hotline, hotline. I don't even remember how that song goes. You too young for that song.
I don't know. But all right, y'all, we're gonna go now.
Yes, we are. Who's tomorrow?
Tomorrow is Novi Johnson. Novi Johnson talking about music and management. So
Oh, I definitely want to be here for that one. I'm here for everyone.
he said I'm definitely gonna be here for that one. Yeah, okay.
Listen, I'm here for the whole 30 days. What are we into?
This is day 15. Yes, day 15, halfway through.
Together. We partners, so I'm here every day.
Halfway through, 30 days, 30 interviews in 30 days.
15 more days. Yeah.
15 more days. Yep. See you tomorrow. Novi Johnson is on the what is that? Tomorrow, 16th, 17th is Kimiko Kombucha. She's going to talk about health and fitness. That's the 17th. 18th is D Lee. 19th is Revive Pop. Oh, we're gonna keep going. It's fire. It's just we're gonna keep going.
D-Lee. Power 99, D-Lee.
D Lee, yeah. Everybody we know D Lee. Yep, D Lee's coming. Hashtag figure it out. So we're gonna check out D Lee. But all right, y'all, I'm gonna go because it's that time. Bye, everybody. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Bye.
We doing